Welcome to Water Talk, live from Chicago, Illinois, and our exclusive coverage from WEFTEC. WEFTEC 17, moving water to the forefront of innovation. Water Talk is made possible by wateronline.com, showcasing today's water industry leaders and innovators. And now, here is your host, Todd Schnick.
All right, good afternoon and welcome back to Water Talk. I am your host, Todd Schnick, kicking off our afternoon session here, day one at WEFTEC 17, joined by Bill the King. Bill, my friend, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm great. Good to see you too, Todd. I can't believe we made it to the afternoon already.
We've already made it to the afternoon session. Going to have a really interesting conversation starting off right now. Let's get to it. We're joined by Karen Frost, Vice President, Business Development for the Water Council. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, the pleasure is ours. Good to see you again. Appreciate you making time to join us. I know you're awfully busy at an event like this, so grateful for the time. Karen, our audience is familiar with the Water Council, obviously, but take a quick minute, remind them about your mission and purpose.
Sure. So the Water Council is based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we are an aggregator for the water technology industry, both in southeastern Wisconsin and across the state. We work with water technology companies, connecting them to one another, to technical assistance, to services, to each other, and really just helping to facilitate all those deep connections within the ecosystem.
All right. Big announcement here at WEFTEC. Tell us all about it.
Sure. So we are delighted to be announcing a program, an event actually, that the Water Council and NASA, so yes, it is NASA, the National Aeronautic and Space Administration. So we have formed a relationship with them to offer a Tech Connect event in March of 2018. And so that event is going to be bringing NASA expertise to our water technology companies. So it's going to be an application-based opportunity for our water technology companies to bring a tough problem, a tough issue, a challenge that they need a deep subject matter expert to help them work through. And then we'll be doing that matchmaking with a deep subject matter expert within the NASA Glenn Research Center, culminating in an event whereby those companies and the NASA Glenn researchers will come together and they'll have actual working time together to be navigating through those issues.
It's fascinating. I mean, when you think of NASA, you don't necessarily think water.
Well,
we usually think space. So how does the NASA program relate to the water industry?
That's a great question. They really do a lot with fluid measurement. They do a lot with air quality, so that also relates to water. They work a lot in advanced materials, in extreme environments. And all of those things translate into water technology, because if we're looking at the challenges that our water technology companies might be bringing, they may or may not have any basis on fluid dynamics. They may, but it also could be a materials issue or a process issue or something else that the NASA group of scientists would have, like I said, very deep subject matter expertise in. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a fluid issue. It could be some other issue within a manufacturing environment or within a product operation that the scientists could bring their deep subject matter expertise to bear.
Well, Bill, when I first thought about this partnership, I thought it was strange. And all right, how does NASA and water? But then you really think about it, whenever you've had this discussion about, all life forms and other celestial bodies, you always, one of the questions is, well, is there water?
Sure.
Because that's usually a symbol of that. I mean, so it really is, NASA has been looking at this for a long, long time.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, their work in extreme environments can translate into, someone operating some type of machinery in a very harsh environment or under harsh demands. And so there's a whole page of competencies, whereby the NASA scientists have these deep subject matter knowledge base in all kinds of areas where you wouldn't think, we think space.
Right.
And I think that our constraints are kind of limited to that, but really, in order to achieve that, they are covering a whole spectrum of issues.
And so how exactly will these organizations actually work together?
Sure. So obviously at WEFTEC today, we're actually promoting that as an opportunity. So we'll be pushing that opportunity out through our network and asking companies to apply. So there are some minimal viable, criteria by which we'll be assessing the companies. They have to have a functioning product. They have to be of certain size so that they're already producing something. So this isn't a program for startups. It is a company, or it is an opportunity for companies that have an established product. They need to be U.S. based. So there's a few things that we want to ask them about ahead of time. And then what we'll do is the Water Council is working closely with the Wisconsin Manufacturing Extension Partnership. So they will be our technical connection point for our companies. So I'm not going to know how to quantify a specific technical challenge, but the Manufacturing Extension Partnership will. So they'll meet one-on-one with a company, really talk through what those, in a very granular manner, what the specific challenge is so that it's a very specifically articulated issue. Then we'll be reconnecting with NASA to see if they have a subject matter expert that can be matched to that specific problem. So that's why the timeline for this is rather spread out, that we're announcing it now and we won't have the event until March, is because there's a lot of background investigation and making sure that we're making precise and exact matches between problem and problem solver on the NASA side. So there's a bit of timeline there.
We've talked a lot about all the various types of expertise that NASA brings to this collaboration, but is there a very specific challenge that you're looking at to identify and tackle with this partnership?
I think that's the beauty of this particular opportunity, is that we're not stipulating what those issues are. We're really leaving it open and as broad as possible for our companies and those in the water technology industry to bring those challenges, those hard problems to us to propose without putting a lot of constraints on it. In the press release, we have detailed a few specific competencies that NASA has, but they have competencies across the board. So I think we're just looking widely for companies that would really want to take advantage of that opportunity.
And have you been able to identify some of the perhaps example water technologies that you anticipate coming out of this type of collaboration?
So that's a great question. We don't feel like there will necessarily be technologies that will come from the program. Rather, that will be improvements to potential water technologies. So if there's a company that has a particular challenge, let's say it's a materials issue or a process problem within production of something, what we think will come out of this is advancing that problem, right? We're able to connect the company with expertise that they would have either had to hire a specific person for, perhaps they would have had to go outside of their company to employ someone in a very specific subject matter expertise area. But what we're anticipating as the outcome is really moving the needle forward on whatever their particular challenge is. So perhaps that enables them to launch a product that they hadn't already launched because of some difficulty. Maybe they're able to bring something to market. Maybe they're able to improve a process and optimize it to such degree that it's profitable, or they've avoided, some issue that was a defect in the product. So I think there's a host of outcomes. I don't think any of those would necessarily be a new technology, rather an improvement on some technology or process.
And you mentioned that the benefit here, one of the main benefits to the water manufacturer is the access to the NASA scientists and science community. What's the reverse of that? What's the benefit to NASA? What are they looking to get out of the collaboration?
That's a great question. So NASA, as an organization, really wants to expand their reach and assistance to companies in terms of their regional economic development, proposition. So Wisconsin is part of the Glenn Research Center region, and they have regional economic development goals. So they're helping to bring subject matter expertise to further economic development, and then to be able to say that NASA was a part of that. So it's really getting their subject matter expertise out into the community and being able to talk about the success stories that happened. I think there may also be an opportunity that if there was a specific challenge identified that maybe created an ongoing or a furtherance of an opportunity with NASA, it could result in a cooperative research agreement or some other opportunity whereby NASA would actually be engaging in a deeper level with that company ongoing. So it's an opportunity for them to bring, their expertise out into industry and to the private environment.
Well, I think I could speak for Bill here and commend you on the work that you're doing to forge this relationship. It's exciting to me because there are a lot of unique challenges in this space, and this amazing industry that's doing hard work trying to solve some of these issues. I think it's going to take some of these kinds of unique partnerships. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm beginning to be intrigued by what other unique partnerships can be forged long term. Maybe you've got some thoughts on that, but I think this is the kind of thing that needs to happen to start seeing some really dramatic forward motion in some of these problems.
Well, I applaud NASA for, offering this program and this opportunity and really culminating in that Tech Connect Day event, because it really helps, bring their expertise to the marketplace. And I think that many of the federal labs tend to be, quite internalized,
Yep.
internally focused. And this is really, shining the light from NASA out into the private industry. So I applaud them for that initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a very, very exciting announcement. Look forward to seeing what results from it. And have a little bit of time here. What else is the Water Council out there doing?
Sure. So one of the other opportunities that we actually announced yesterday is we are offering another round of our pilot program. So that enables application-based. So it's an application-based program whereby companies that are earlier stage can apply to this program to get matching funding for technology demonstrations. So we have a few funding partners that are part of that funding, and we help connect them with sites so that they can test and validate their technologies. So that's another opportunity that we've announced at WEFTEC yesterday, and that is open now. And all of these programs, I guess, both the NASA Tech Connect and the pilot program, can be companies can pursue an application through the Global Water Port.
Very, very cool.
And Karen, just to bring you back to the NASA Tech Connect, you mentioned the event that you're planning out for next year. Remind our audience here about the date, and if you have any specific details as to what that event would actually feel like,
Sure.
actually consist of.
Absolutely. So we'll be selecting up to 4 companies to participate. So it's not, a giant scale type event. NASA wants to make sure that it's very targeted and that, like I said, those appropriate matches are done in advance. So what the March 21st, 2018 event will look like is that companies that are selected will actually travel to NASA Glenn, and we will be at the Ohio Aerospace Institute. And so we'll have a speaker, we'll have dedicated matchmaking time between the selected company and the NASA expert. And so the event that day will very much look like, a presentation, some, matchmaking, and then that intensive kind of work session between the company and the NASA expert. And the following day, if companies would want to participate, NASA is offering a couple of tours of their facilities for us. So a day and a half event, companies have to get there on their own, but really the subject matter involvement, I don't know how you can put a price tag on that. It's an amazing opportunity.
I don't think you can. Good stuff. Well, Karen, we're about out of time. Before we let you go, should anyone have any questions on any of this, where do they go?
So they can contact me. They can go to the Water Council website and contact any one of our staff. I can be a touch point, but they can find a lot of information on our website.
All right. Karen Frost, Vice President of Business Development for the Water Council. Karen, thanks again for stopping by and joining us.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with this cool partnership.
Thank you.
All right. It's all the time we have for now. On behalf of all of us at Water Talk and Water Online, thank you for listening in. To hear more of our conversations and to learn more, visit wateronline.com. Todd Schnick and Bill King signing off for the moment, but don't worry, Water Talk will be right back.